Oh my God, my whole time my sound was off. Oh no, that's not good. Guys, I got a good one for you guys. Holy cow, my sound was off the whole time. Welcome, guys. Sweet streams are made of this. You were going live. You don't want to miss. Okay, so I got a good one today, something that I want to talk to you guys about. Now, look, Google a few days ago came out and admitted, right here, you can see the letter on my screen. They admitted to, I will, again, I just sounded, okay, good. Yeah, it was me, bro. My bad. My sound was all jacked up. So now we're back. Google admits to censorship under Biden and promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Okay? YouTube admits to banning people on their platform for political speech. Now, what does that mean? They promise to end the ban. So that means they're going to bring back those accounts. We can go through this and we can read this word for word. And it just tells you that they banned accounts that were not even doing anything against their own violation. It wasn't even like a violation of YouTube's policies. They were at the hands of Biden. Biden administration forced them to do it. And this is the letter. You guys can all Google it, but I'm showing it to you. If you Google it, this is what you're going to see. Now, we got Google. They came out a few days. We all know this. Google admits they censored because of Biden. And now they're going to bring them back. Now, here's the crazy part. Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones created YouTube accounts yesterday, right? In response to this letter or as a result of this letter, they created accounts. Within 12 hours, those accounts were taken down. So now let's look at the video that was presented to YouTube regarding this. Ready? Watch this. This right here, guys, if you don't know, this is Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, if you don't know who he is, he's Vivek Ramaswamy, and we're gonna watch this.
This is a message for the leadership of YouTube.
Okay, this is a message to the leadership of YouTube. This is very interesting. So now, let's go ahead and I'm going to put this so you can see who this is, see where this is coming from, and that way you can look it up if you want on your own, because we're all about transparency. So here we go. You ready? How can I show you the title of this video? Oh, right here. This is the title of the video. Whoa. And this is his name. You see that? That's the account, and this is the title right here. Dear YouTube. Ready? And here we go.
This is a message for the leadership of YouTube. Frankly, I probably could have called you privately, but I think it's better to just talk about this in the open on this particular issue. My understanding is in the last 24 hours, you locked the accounts and shut down the accounts of two guys, Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. They have big followings on the American right. I think it's better if you just unlock those accounts and let the guys be heard. And I say this not because I'm some particular fan or vice versa. At least one of them, Nick, is probably not a particularly big fan of mine. No more than Jimmy Kimmel is, by the way, for very different reasons. That's beside the point. It doesn't matter. The reason I'm asking you to do it is that censorship isn't good for America. It's antithetical to our culture. And we're the country on God's green earth where we're able to talk to each other in the open. And I want to credit YouTube and Google and your parent company and so much of your competitors in Silicon Valley for creating the first instance of the free and open internet with search engines. It's a beautiful thing for democratizing speech. But I think we take a step in the wrong direction when we choke those same technologies that allow us to access open debate and open ideas. It breeds discontent. It breeds frustration. It actually breeds mistrust. If you tell people they can't speak, that's when they scream. And if you tell people they can't scream, that's when they tear things down. So I think free speech is a precondition for peace. It's a precondition for the scientific method. It's a precondition for our shared unity, our shared national identity as Americans. Now, I can understand why you might think that certain types of speech or certain things that are said that are hurtful to other people or that may spread misinformation or may they count as violent or dangerous threats shouldn't be allowed on your platform. I personally take a broad view of what type of speech is an expression of an opinion that's protected, but that's a separate discussion about whether somebody says a particular thing that you think doesn't belong on your platform. That's one category of speech moderation. There's a different category of saying that you may demonetize certain people. You're not going to pay them, that even if they're able to speak on your platform, it's not necessarily their right to be paid for doing so or putting advertisers next to their name. That's a separate discussion. Personally, I don't like any of those forms of speech suppression as a general matter, but at least those are discussions that reasonable minds can have. There's a whole separate third category of censorship, though, that I think is particularly harmful, which is the idea that just because of who you are, your name and who you are, you don't get to express any idea, whether it's misinformation, hateful speech, whether it's dangerous or whatever you deem it to be. Irrespective of that, you're not making that judgment. Just based on who you are, you don't get to speak. I think that breeds mistrust. I don't think that's good for our country. There's legal arguments to be had. I've made legal arguments elsewhere in my books, in Wall Street Journal pieces, and there are legal arguments that you could construct that say that if a tech company is protected by Section 230, a government-created shield of immunity, that if a tech company is responding, even indirectly, to the threats of government officials, maybe that is actually even a legal First Amendment violation. That's not even what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is not a legal point, it's just a cultural point. It's the question of whether this is good or bad for America. And I think we live in a moment right now where when we tell people, whether it's the government or even a powerful company, when you tell people that because of who you are, you deserve not to be heard, I think that actually divides us. Even if it's done with the best of intentions of thinking it brings most of the rest of the country together, in the long run, it actually throws kerosene on the very flame you were trying to quash. And so that's my ask to you. I'm not trying to do this in some type of faux indignation, angry way that escalates some political fight. That's not the goal. I actually think that it's often possible to get to the right answer through just reasonable, open dialogue. That's what I hope this is. I hope you're able to reconsider a decision that you made that may have been a wrong decision. And I think we need more space as a country when people do make a wrong decision to be able to be given an off-ramp, to be able to say that, you know what, after thinking about it, yeah, we agree, we're persuaded that all else equal, even though we intended well, we ought to let people speak and be heard. That's what I hope happens here. And so my ask is, and again, speaking as a guy who, from Jimmy Kimmel to Nick Fuentes, probably don't like me very much. I don't care. That doesn't matter. It's not what this is about. It's not even about the content. It's about the principle. I'd ask you to restore the accounts of those guys, and believe me, it will be a down payment on beginning to reunite this country, a project on which we have yet a very long way to go. Thanks a lot for considering.
Okay, guys, so you guys saw that. There is a lot of controversy about this right now, and the big deal about this is this. They just, this guy doesn't represent the USA at all. I beg to differ. Basketball Jones, it depends who you ask. The big controversy is that YouTube came out flat out and said that they admit that they were censoring Americans due to Biden administration forcing them to do that. Okay, this is that. Let me put this on your screen. This is that letter from Google, or this is them admitting it. Okay, this is a few days ago. This just happened. Now, right after they did this, they go ahead and ban 2 more people that just created new accounts for nothing. So, are you guys aware of this? What are your thoughts about this? Is that not weird to you guys that you admit that you did it? You promise that you're gonna end the bans. It says here right here, flat out. We're gonna end, promises to end the bans. Yet they banned 2 more people. It's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Now, let's listen to what some other people have to say about this. If you guys don't have opinions on it, then we can talk about it. But the best candidate Ohio can come up with is Vivek. That in and of itself is a joke. That tells me you don't know much about Vivek. If you have substance to talk about, let's talk. But it looks like you're just like bashing people. But if you have substance, let's talk about it. But this is what someone else has to say about it. There's a two-party system, and printing dollars is the scam. Okay,
Frankly, I probably could have called you privately, but I think it's better to just talk about the accounts and let
Nick Fuentes actually put up YouTube.
by the way, for very different reasons.
Okay, I'm going to put something
That's
else
beside the
here.
point.
So
It
let's
doesn't
talk.
matter.
Let's see what these guys have to say.
It will be a long way to go. Thanks a lot for considering.
We have the post that kind of started it all. Now, after Nick Fuentes gets off his Patrick Bet David podcast, you know, he's in the middle of his generational run right now. He gets off the podcast, and then all of a sudden the next day, Jim Jordan, Representative Jim Jordan, who you guys all know, he posted a tweet saying, breaking, due to our oversight efforts, Google commits to offer all creators previously kicked off YouTube due to political speech violations to return to the platform. But that's not all. And keep in mind, in this, keyword says all creators. So then we work our way down here. He says YouTube also, actually they admitted this. They admitted the Biden administration censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong, and confirms that the Biden admin wanted Americans censored for speech that did not violate YouTube's policies. And they detail when YouTube began rolling back its censorship policies on political speech after Judiciary GOP began its investigation. So right around the time I created this channel, I noticed Nick Fuentes clips were kind of allowed back on YouTube again. Over the past few years, we have uncovered massive scandals relating to the big tech censorship, he says. And of course, he was the one that did the big Meta Facebook expose where he basically found out a bunch of stuff that they were doing. Now, during the Biden-Harris years under White House pressure, YouTube changed its policies to censor political debate on COVID and elections. So if you guys remember, Trump and all the COVID deniers, they all got censored completely off of YouTube. So it's nice to see they're finally admitting to this. Now we work our way down here. Now to make amends to the American people, and because of the work that Jim Jordan has done, YouTube has officially announced they're rolling back its censorship policies on political speech, including topics such as COVID and elections. So what does that mean? Whether you were an established YouTube presence with a massive following, like Dan Bongino, or you were just starting out to express political views, you will have an opportunity to come back onto the platform if you were censored for engaging in political speech. This is another victory, he says. So this is very similar to what you were seeing with Mark Zuckerberg when he had his hearing. But guys, that's not all. YouTube is making changes to platform to prevent
Guys, he just mentioned Mark Zuckerberg. If you're not aware of Mark Zuckerberg a year ago, actually 13 months ago, came out and admitted openly that Biden they pressured them, Instagram and Facebook, to censor Americans for actually things that were true. So that happened. And then Zuckerberg went and spoke about this publicly on many podcasts. A year later, now finally, actually like 2 to 3 days ago, Google came out and openly, 2 to 3 days ago, guys, imagine, Google came out, openly admitted to doing the same thing on YouTube. They also did it on the actual Google searches because I saw it when I would search stuff, I would see it. But they openly admitted it, and now they just ban people for the same thing for creating new accounts. What do you know about Axelvant, Vivek's family scam company? He is a disqualified on this alone. Yeah, that's I don't know what that means, bro, but let's keep going, guys.
Prevent future censorship. YouTube is committing to the American people that it will never use outside so-called fact checkers to censor speech again. Now, they're also trying out community notes, which you saw Elon Musk was kind of ahead of the curve. Elon Musk put the community notes on the tweets. So after this news, after this huge tweet blew up all over social media, all over Twitter, this tweet has 11 million views. Nick Fuentes decided to maybe start up his own channel. And so we have a clip here of Myron Gaines congratulating Nick Fuentes on his interview with PBD, because again, he's on his generational run, and that Nick should be reinstated on YouTube. So let's listen into this clip.
And congratulations to my guy Nick for getting on Patrick Bet David. Congratulations, bro. You know when you have like a buddy, right, that you really want to win because you look at him like, yo, the odds have been stacked against him for so long. Nick got kicked out of everything, right? And it was just a blessing, bro. Like literally, I see he's on PBD. I'm fucking happy as hell. And then I see this news come across my table on Twitter, right? Like, hey, they're gonna reinstate people that got kicked out for political reasons. Yeah, dude, if you're not happy seeing your friends win, then something's wrong with you. I don't know what to tell you. Some motherfuckers are jealous and shit like that. But to me, I'm like, I get happy as fuck. I'm like, all right, y'all niggas are blowing up. Like, let's go, you know, because that's your buddies are going to help you out. So you should always want what's best for your friends. And if you get jealous when your friends are doing well, that's a very feminine trait. It's fucking weird. And they banned Nick for political speech too. They'll sit there, oh, it's hate speech. No, bro, because see, this is what pissed me off too when they say, oh, it's hate speech, it might not be political speech. It is, because if you're going to talk American politics, you must talk about, and that's what he talked about. Us too. We got demonetized for this shit. So all of us should be fucking reinstated, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, see, I mean, even Myron gets it. I mean, Nick Fuentes earned his spot back. But here's where the mask slips off. So Nick Fuentes decides to start his own YouTube channel. It was late at night, last night. He dropped the channel link on his Telegram, and he had 30,000 subscribers in a matter of 12 hours. Blew up instantly, posts one video. The video already is trending to be million view video with the amount of traffic that's driving to his page. And same as Alex Jones. Alex Jones creates his channel, uploads his first, I'm back on YouTube, welcome back guys. And 12 hours later, completely banned, both of them, just shut down. We have a tweet here, YouTube has banned Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes less than 12 hours after they created their channels. Now this caused everyone to riot. So everyone's tweeting at YouTube, spamming that it was a total scam. They're not adhering to the oversight committee and what just announced by Jim Jordan. And the YouTube updates page released a statement. We've seen some previously terminated creators try to start new channels. To clarify, our pilot program on terminations is not yet open. It's still against our community guidelines for previously terminated users to use, possess, or create other channels, and we'll terminate new channels from previously terminated users in accordance with these guidelines. We'll have more to share on limited programs soon. So now, I mean, you'd think that their so-called apology and policy changes, YouTube would at least own up. But nope, instead they, of course, double down with a community update saying, oh, it's a pilot program. I mean, that just, a translation to me is they'll let in who they want and when they want, while shutting the door on people who actually move the needle like Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. Even Steve Bannon, who knows the game better than anyone, came out swinging for Nick Fuentes, calling it unacceptable that Nick and Alex got axed after YouTube promised change. So let's take a look at what Steve Bannon has to say.
Chris, because of this YouTube and Google thing, and remember, here in the world, we want to break up Google. We don't want to work with it. We want to break it up. We built one of the most largest and most powerful shows in all media, and we're banned everywhere on all the big platforms. And how did that happen? It was Real America's Voice and our ability and Grace and our ability just to get the content and you as force multipliers. Well, YouTube, oh, we're going to let Bongino ban it back on. I said, hey, F you. Zero interest. I think the report is Alex Jones and Nick Fuentes actually put up YouTube channels last night. Guess what? Taken down right away. That's what Pavlovsky's telling me or showing me. Unbelievable.
Now, if you think this is just some fringe complaint, I mean, think again. So let's read what Vivek has to say. So he says, our country is at its best when we're able to hear one another. Nick Fuentes and Jimmy Kimmel probably don't like me for different reasons. I don't care. It's still un-American to muzzle the peaceful expression of opinions. And no, that's not a legal point. It's a cultural point. So this was in response to the YouTube has shut down the newly created channels of Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones. So, I mean, it's very surprising to see Vivek Ramaswamy actually come together and stick up for each other. So, I mean,
so guys, there you have it. That's just another breakdown with a little more information on what happened. So these guys, Basketball Jones, I don't know what you're talking about Axel Vant. Feel free to let us know. I don't know exactly what you're saying. And if you're taking off, bro, peace out to you as well, man. All good. But are you, first of all, are you guys aware of this? Second of all, what do you guys think about this? They come out and say they did the censorship and they're going to reverse the bans. And then they go ahead and re-ban these guys as soon as they create accounts. So I'm not sure what to think about that. I think they're saying that it's some kind of a pilot program where they're not approving them yet or something like that. And so that to me is, but it is what it is. Okay. Now I also want to go here. Let me pull something else up for us. And we're going to go through some other stuff. So that's one of the things I want to bring up to you guys is this ban. And that's free speech, right? That's when we talk about from the left when they say, "Oh, you guys are against free speech," and then the right says, "Oh, but you guys are against free speech." The free speech that we've been seeing has been here. Okay, I'm gonna just put this right here. Here. This is the free speech we've been seeing. That's been under attack. So this is where you see two instances, right? So you got Google admits censorship under Biden. That's 3 days ago. Let me see what State Line is saying here. But they reinstate their accounts once anti-Semitic legislation is in place for criminal penalties. And that's on Instagram, guys. So you got 3 days ago, Google admits to censorship at the hands of Biden and his administration. And then a year ago, 13 months ago, you got Zuckerberg admitted that IG and Facebook was being censored by Joe Biden's administration through the FBI. They utilized the FBI to censor IG and Facebook. And then we all know that Twitter was suppressing information as well. So there's that. BA is saying my algorithm is something. So what does that mean, bro? Are you trying to watch like I Show Speed and you saw us? You found us? Sorry, bro. I do have the same setup as I Show Speed when I go out and do my live streams, and so I'll be doing more of those. Probably tomorrow I'll be out in the streets interviewing people, and so you guys can watch that. But that was I wanted to go through that. Nick Fuentes got kicked off. He's banned. Lots of people are talking about it. Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones, they got banned, and it doesn't matter whether you like them or not. But is this we Todd Ed Boo chat? What are you talking about, bro? You're just you're in La La Land, bro. Come back to us. Come back to us, bro. Come back. Come back. You can do it. You can do it, bro. Come back. You can do it. So a couple of things. How about this? How about this? What is this? What do you guys say about this?
Did we say that when Tucker Carlson was pulled off the air by Fox News?
I'm trying to get it to rewind.
Did we say that?
It's not playing like that. Let me play it like this so you could hear it. You guys ready for this one? Here we go. Here we go. Come on, baby. Come on. Let's go. Here we go. And if I do this, and then I do
Here's
this.
the problem. Did we say that when Tucker Carlson was pulled off the air by Fox News? Did we say that? Did we say that? Or would we say that if Gutfield was pulled off the air by Fox News? Government overreach, the Biden administration and what they were doing when it came to Facebook and X. Were we as outspoken then as we were over the last few days? Because you see, on this show, we're talking consistency. This is why I call myself an independent. This is why I call myself a centrist. Because what I want to do is I want to be able to look at you based on the facts and say, you're right or you're wrong, and that's it. But when you're able to point to the other side doing the same damn thing, preceding you, by the way, and what you're doing, then it becomes a bit more alarming because the word hypocrisy comes into play. And you're able to look at it and say, yo, the other side did the same thing. So why are we engaging in partisanship here? Here's the problem. Did we say that when Tucker Carlson?
So he's obviously responding to people that are outraged about Jimmy Kimmel, and he's saying, "Did we say that when Tucker Carlson was banned?" So you got to like
Here's the problem.
Figure that part out. I want to hear this again.
Did we say that when Tucker Carlson was pulled off the air?
You know what? Before I get to that, I want to get to this interactive improv. Can you name? Can you name that one social media app that has zero censorship? You're strawmanning our conversation. The conversation is very clear. We have Google that admitted to doing it under Biden administration, and then we had Facebook and Instagram admit the same thing under Biden administration at the basically he used the FBI to do that. We have all the documentation. They go out and they talk about it. That's what we're talking about. You're saying censorship in general. No, we're talking about specifically these companies coming out, which is nuts, that they came out flat out and admitted that the Biden administration forced them to censor Americans and suppress true stories and true posts that they put out. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about did anyone ever do it or can you name one? That's not what we're talking about, bro. Literally, they came out and said they did it. That's what you got to talk. That's what we're talking about. Speak to that. The head of FCC under Biden never went on the podcast. Said, bro, you're straw manning the conversation. Stick to the conversation. Stick to the conversation. Okay? This is the conversation right here, bro. This is what you got to think about. This happened. This right here happened. This right here flat out happened, guys, and it's no joke. This is literally why I'm going to explain to you guys if you guys don't know me or just recently tuning into me as a person. The reason why I very recently switched from the left to the right. People that subscribe to me and know me, they know that. I just recently flipped from the left to the right. Very recent. The number one reason why is because of this right here. I didn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is BS. I was like these guys, bro. I was like lost in La La Land where I was like, bro, oh no, it's not true. The right is crazy. They're nuts. They're horrible. They're like fascist. They're authoritarianism and all this kind of, dude, I was gobbling that all up, bro. And then I started, I was doing this kind of stuff. You know, I was having some fun. I created some businesses and I made some money and I continued owning and I still own, I have these businesses that make money that give me time back, to give me time to allow me to do what I'm doing now. And when in the process of doing what I do and talking and doing podcasting, I did podcasting, I do live streams, I went out in the streets, I did street interviews live, not record and then edit and post. No, I would actually do it live. Then I would come home and I would do my searches and I'll do my things, do my research. And then I realized, I was like, dude, how come when I search for this is not showing up? I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess my algorithm's jacked up. Then I'm like, dude, this can't be. And then I looked into something and it said, no, this is actually happening. I go, dude, this can't be. I'm seeing it for myself, but I still don't believe it. Then what do? I go to my friends. I go to some other people. I check people with different algorithms. Like I go to people with different opposite algorithm to me and I search on their phones and I search on their internet and lo and behold, they were all being suppressed. They were all being suppressed. And I was like, oh my God. They are suppressing us. Bro, we were in the middle of an election. We were leading actually up to an election, a vote. We were leading up to it. This is how recent I was on the left, guys. We were leading up to the last presidential election. And I would search, because I was doing podcasting and posting videos, I would search for Trump rallies and Trump, whatever you call it when he goes and speaks. I forget the name now because I'm worked up now. I go and search for it, and everything is about Kamala on Google. I do a Google search. I put Trump, whatever, and it was all telling me the dates and times of Kamala's, things and all this other stuff. The very few times she spoke, mind you. And we all know Trump goes and does a million speeches and goes to every day. Dude, at times he went to 3 places in one day. And I was searching to find it because I wanted to post, how crazy everything is. And Donald Trump is, this, that, and the other. And I couldn't do that because it was being suppressed by Google. That's whack, bro. That's not cool. That was like unthreaded, the thing for me, or whatever you want to call it. That's what undid it for me. I was like, oh my God. And I kept looking, and then out of nowhere, bro, these guys, I found out about Twitter, the Twitter files, and I dug into it, and I go, this is not true either. This can't be, bro. This is nuts. These are just conspiracies. They were real. Dude, these are real, bro. These are legit things that happen. Let me tell you guys one thing that was like a insanity thing that happened to our country. And here's what it is. And here's someone that's backing them up for being private companies. Zachary Smith. Oh, it's almost like they're private companies that they can do and promote things they want. Now, all of a sudden, they're private companies. When we talk about this, they're private companies. But when you talk about what happened to Jimmy Kimmel, it's not a private company anymore. It's a whole different conversation. Yeah, I have something to say about Jimmy Kimmel too, and I'm going to say it in a minute, and remind me if I forget. But when I found out about Twitter files, and I found out that they were actually being literally being forced by the Biden administration to suppress reality and truth and promote whatever they wanted them to promote on the left side. That did it for me, because as a Democrat, as a liberal, I was pissed off, bro. I was livid, bro. I lost it. I was like, dude, we are about freedom of speech. We are liberal. We're Democrats. We're liberal. We're all about, everyone is equal and we should all this kind of stuff, right? And dude, you're doing this? This is not my party. This is not what I'm voting for. That's what did it for me. That's the whole thing. And then you put on top of that Charlie Kirk and all this other stuff where they come and talk common sense. And then if you even open one book, open any of you guys, if you have the capacity to read a full book, read one book about Thomas Sowell, written by Thomas Sowell. Read one book written by Thomas Sowell. And it will unravel everything. DJ Phipps, you're out, bro. You're a loser, bro. You're a loser. And I'm going to come out and remove you permanently after I timed you out for a full 24 hours. You're a loser, bro. That's not what you say, and that's not cool to say that. I'm not even going to repeat what he said. That's when I lost it. That's what unraveled everything. I was like, dude, you guys are literally using your powers as political leaders to suppress your opposition. That's fascism, bro. That's actual fascism. Unlucky Preacher, welcome back. I know you're Tibble Kane. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have you back in the conversation. I fought hard against those stupid vax policies. I refused to wear a mask and didn't get vaxxed, but it was because I did my own research. I listened to a doc who worked with coronavirus for 15 years. I did get vax. I didn't. Oh, the state line says I didn't. Guys, I'm reading you the Instagram side. Vico, what's up, baby? I know you're working tonight, man. Thanks for tuning in while you're working, bro. Love you, bro. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I didn't get vaxxed either. My wife's rheumatologist guilted her into it, and within 24 hours, she has life-threatening PEs in her lungs. Wow. That's crazy. Holy cow. CQ the watch guy, thanks for joining, bro. I bought a couple watches from CQ. If you guys need a watch, bro, go get it from CQ the watch guy. He does some real authentic watches. Here's a cool watch, by the way. I don't know if I can get that into focus. This is a rose gold Piaget with an actual, what's it called? Actual lapis lazuli stone dial. I know. I'm all over. Much love, bro. Much love, Vico. Appreciate you, dude. That was a good workout today. So, dude, yeah. So you're ignoring Brandon and you're ignoring the merger that he was. Bro, I'm talking on my own tangent. So you just gotta deal. I already responded to like half of what you said. So you can't stop. You can't keep discrediting me for something, bro. I got a couple different chats. And I'm going off on my tangents, bro. So you gotta deal with it or get lost, one or the other. CQ the watch guy, bro. Appreciate you, man. You hooked it up. You got me some sick ass watches, bro. And I'm gonna show you this one again. CQ, you haven't seen this watch, but check this out. This is a Piaget with a lapis lazuli dial, rose gold with a lapis lazuli dial. I don't know if you can see here. Let me go like this. There you go. You should be able to see it now. That's a beautiful piece. Let me go like this. There you go, right there. This is a beautiful dial. That's actual natural stone dial. Yeah, bro. So that was what did it for me as a Democrat. When they started, when I went down the rabbit hole and I found out, and I didn't believe any of it, right? Because as Democrats, we don't believe it. We're like, oh, these guys are fucking crazy and all this stuff. You're doing good, bro. Keep it up. Love your podcast always. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that, man. CQ, thank you, man. I got a couple more, bro. Here's a Sea Dweller Rolex. Here's an actual Sea Dweller. You can see with the valve on the side for deep sea. This is an actual Sea Dweller. I got a couple cool pieces, bro. I have them in another place. Here's a IWC. There's an IWC. CQ the watch guy, bro. He got my fiance the sickest Rolex, man. Thank you, CQ. I got another one with a malachite dial. You will really love. You really love the one with the malachite dial. I'll show you on the next time, bro. It's in another room. Anyway, so that I didn't believe it. You know, as a Democrat, you know, you're like in this whole echo chambery freaking thing because all of the media at that time was leftist. And you were like, I was all in the left. I was like, oh yeah. And everywhere I went, all I heard was lefty stuff, and I didn't believe anything. Once in a while, you hear some cool stuff, and I mean, you hear some wacky stuff coming from the right. You're like, dude, these guys are nuts, bro. These guys are absolutely crazy. But it wasn't. You know, it wasn't reality. I was not living in reality, bro. It was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. And when I realized the Twitter files, when you go into Twitter files, that trips you out. Especially when what happened to me is what I explained to you guys, and I was actually doing searches, and I found out firsthand that what I was asking for, it was not. There was no way for me to extract that information from Google. It was crazy how that happened. Let's see a couple more things. We need more men that can admit when they are wrong. I appreciate you, brother. Facts do matter. Charles Turk, thank you, man. I'm just being honest, okay? I was heavy Democrat to the point where my fiance looked at me like I was crazy, okay? She almost like was done with me. And not that I was like trying to win her over in some way like that, but it was just, she was like, dude, this guy's super Democrat. I was a heavy Democrat, bro. I would be going around, bro, to dinners and lunches, and when people would bring up something political, I was bagging on Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is like this, Donald Trump is like that, and all this stuff. I was that guy. And I can pull up probably, I don't know if I have videos of me, but anyway, it was wild. Then I start unraveling all the stuff, and I dig in and I find out real stuff that happened. And I'm like, dude, this Twitter stuff literally happened. These guys actually suppressed stuff because of Joe Biden. Then I search even more, and I'm like, dude, what is going on with this part? Then what you see on the page, okay? What you see on the page right here, this part on the bottom. This is why I put them both. Interactive improv. You were right then. A book and a Google search radicalized you. No, it was a lot more. And if that's what you think, you're not paying attention. You're only listening to what you want to hear. That's it. So that's fine. Then then August 26th, you had Zuckerberg. And before that, we already knew about it. But he openly talked. He openly admitted it in a letter. And I showed you guys the letter on another stream. He wrote the letter. He said, look, we did this. Joe Biden used the FBI to force us to suppress true information from the right and promote information on the left. And we will never do that again. And that's reality. That's what happened. Now, a year later, 13 months later, what do we have? Look at the top of the screen. Google admits censorship under Biden. Big surprise. Not really. Guys, when you guys run around, now again, mind you, this is a guy that came straight from your side and used these words myself. When you run around and you say you're a fascist, they're a fascist, fascist, la 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 la. Bro, a real fascist does this stuff right here. A real fascist is someone in power, like Joe Biden, who uses his office and his administration to censor Americans that are opposing him. That's fascism, bro. You got to admit that. And if you can't admit that, you don't have guts. You don't have guts, bro. It's just another thing to manufacture anger for the next thing that focuses more control. I don't know what you even mean by that, but we can talk about it if you can articulate yourself better. So that's what did it for me, was finding out about the censorship, because I was a believer of freedom of speech, and I was a believer of everyone is equal and we're all allowed to do the same things. And, you know, my party at that time, my Democratic Party is the best, or the better of the two parties. We're more virtuous than the other side. And then I start unraveling this stuff, and it's not true. It's literally the opposite. I was like, dude, you guys are crazy. How did you guys trick me to believe that? And then, once you go down that path and you start thinking for yourself, this is what Charlie Kirk did. This is how Charlie Kirk won me over, because he makes you think for yourself. Charlie Kirk always told you, you need to learn how to think for yourself. There's other ways to gain knowledge and wisdom other than media, whether it's social media or mainstream media or media in general. There's other ways to learn about things in the world. And so I started thinking for myself. And lo and behold, as I thought, I was like, wait a minute, these last couple elections, let me play something for you. Are you ready? Let me play something for you. Watch this. I posted this. Watch this. Watch this. This is my Instagram. Enjoy. Watch this. Okay, you guys ready for this? When I started digging in, I realized this before these guys talked about this. I realized this. I posted this later, but I thought about, I was like, wait a minute, the last election, we didn't even choose our nominees for our own Democratic Party. I was a Democrat. I didn't choose my nominees. We didn't vote for them. They chose them for us. And I'm trying to find it for you guys. Trying to find it. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here we go. You guys ready? Watch this, bro. Watch this. You ready? Am I in the right place here? You guys are not seeing it. Am I in the right place? Yes.
Where Democratic voters didn't get a chance to pick. By the way, it's just 3 straight nominations where Democratic voters didn't get a chance to pick the nominee. The elites picked Hillary Clinton, the elites picked Joe Biden, and the elites picked Kamala Harris. There was no actual.
Let me play that again. When I started thinking for myself as a Democrat, this is what happened to me, and I thought about this before these guys said it out loud. They would have never said this if Trump didn't win. But Trump won, and they came out and flat out said what I'm going to play for you right now. But it's something that I realized when I started thinking for myself. Now watch this. Watch this. Ready? This is what happened. I realized this before they even openly said this. They would have never said it if Kamala Harris won. But as a Democrat, I realized this. And these are the moments when I started switching. But here, ready? 1, 2, 3.
By the way, it's just 3 straight nominations where Democratic voters didn't get a chance to pick the nominee. The elites picked Hillary Clinton, the elites picked Joe Biden, and the elites picked Kamala Harris. There was no actual set of voters who felt like they had a say in this.
Democrats, we should have had a primary for this midterm election, and we didn't. And so now we're living with the consequences of it. I hope that our party wakes up and realizes it. But there's a reality in that we should have given our voters an opportunity to make a decision for themselves. And by the time we had to make a decision, it was too late.
By the way, it's just 3.
That's CNN, and that's the left saying it themselves. What do you have to say about that? Needs to find out truth, do your own research. No, you have no critical thinking skills. I would say the same about you, Michael Best. You have no critical thinking. Oh, CK does what's called begging the question. No. CK, Charlie Kirk, tells you to think for yourself. He tells you there's other places to find knowledge other than media. And when I did that, I realized we didn't choose Hillary Clinton. If you're a Democrat like I was at that time, you have to admit this. You and I and none of us picked Hillary Clinton. None of us did. They picked it for us. Admit that. If you have guts, admit it. You have to have the guts to admit that as a Democrat. I did. You should too. You should admit it. We didn't pick Hillary Clinton. We didn't pick Joe Biden. Matter of fact, when it was Hillary running, you know who we picked instead of Hillary, and they gave us Hillary, right? Let's see if you Democrats have the guts to say it in the chat. Let's see if you guys have the guts to say it in the chat. If you're a Democrat and you're on the left, when Hillary Clinton was running, who did you and I and everyone that was in the Democratic Party, who did we actually go for and nominate to run for us? Let's see if you have the guts to say it. Can anyone call it? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Exactly right. Bernie. Jay called it. Jay, are you on the left? Jay, are you on the left? I want to know right now, bro. Are you on the left or not? Or are you in the right? You're at hard middle. Okay. I'll take that. I have an opinion on people being in the hard middle right now, but I'll take that. Okay. Do you other Democrats, do you other guys on the left, which was me, do you guys want to admit that when Hillary Clinton was running, we all chose Bernie Sanders instead? Do you guys want to admit that? State Line is saying, have you seen Hillary's latest remarks? We need to run numbers on this bet. Depends on which way the draws fits. Yeah. So let me see, guys. Any more of you guys on the left want to come out and admit it? You got to have guts to admit that. That's not democratic. We chose Bernie Sanders. Why did you give us Hillary? Bernie would have won the election. You guys, we literally voted for Bernie Sanders. I'm a little loud. I'm excited, dude. We literally voted for Bernie Sanders, and you gave us a losing Hillary Clinton, who got crushed against Trump, meaning in the debates and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't cool, and that's not democratic, guys. Sure, Bernie was preferred, but who runs matters. Bernie was who we voted for as Democrats, and they gave us Hillary. They did a switcheroo. And if you don't have the guts to admit that, you need to look in the mirror. Michael Jackson wrote a song. It's called Man in the Mirror. Go listen to his song, and then go to your nearest mirror and look in the mirror, because you got no guts if you can't admit that. We literally voted for Bernie. You were for Bernie too. Congratulations, bro. You were literally like me. You and I were like cut from the same cloth. I was for Bernie too. You don't change your mind on hundreds of policies because a candidate loses, though. Grow up. Sorry, guys. I got some allergies and some things. But anyway, so that's not very democratic of the party who is the Democratic Party. And all of these things, when you stack them up, and you stack them up, and you stack them up, and you boom, 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 all of a sudden, things are not making sense, bro. They don't make sense. They literally did a switcheroo on you. They pulled the carpet right out from under you, bro. The rug, right out from under you. We got worked, bro. We got bamboozled as Democrats when that happened. I'm a libertarian. Would that count? Bernie had to share votes. Yeah, dude. It was honestly, it was the craziest thing. And Bernie did what he had to do to switch around and to win us over, and he did. And the guy had momentum like you wouldn't believe. He had the young vote like you wouldn't believe. I truly believe if they would have let our Democratic thing play out and given us Bernie to run against Trump, he would have beat Trump. And there would have been no Trump. I truly believe that. But the Democratic Party did what they did, and they showed us their cards, bro. They didn't poll that differently among Democratic voters. You could be honest about that too. I don't know what you mean about that. Please explain. Please articulate. Yeah. Yeah, bro. When I found out, I was a Democrat, bro. When I found out, that when they pulled that with Bernie, that was like, oh, geez, that's weird. But then it wasn't even then. It was years after that when I was still a Democrat, bro. You guys did that to me, and I was still on your team, bro. Can you believe that? I was still on your team. I kept going, and all of a sudden, all this stuff unraveled. All this, what you see on the screen right. Let me pull it up. What you see on the screen right here is what the other things that happened, bro. They literally lied to us. They literally suppressed voters. They literally suppressed truth. They literally Biden literally used the FBI to control, basically to do propaganda. Basically, bro, what you guys call fascist is what the Democratic Party was doing. That's how everything was going in their favor as far as the narratives. Everything was like that. It was like, that's why when you were a Democrat, it was so easy to be a Democrat, because everything was like the river was flowing in your direction. It was just woo. It was perfect. It was so cool. It was like smooth sailing. So once you figure all that stuff out, there's a major eye opening that happens after that, and you're like, oh man, this stuff is not. This is not like the whole, like the top 3 reasons why I'm a Democrat they actually are not even, they don't even exist anymore. And then you're like, wait a minute here, dude. Hold on a second, guys. What are we doing again? Wait, why am I supporting this again? What's the other reasons why? And I'm still trying to like reason with it. I remember when this happened. I remember when this happened. I was still fighting it, bro. I was still like, no, this, okay, there's still a way. There's still some things. And then you're like, dude, then once you start thinking for yourself and you break out of the echo chamber, everything changes, dude. Everything changes. For those of you that are on the left, what are the top 3? Let's make it really easy. What's the top 1 reason why you're a Democrat still? What's the top reason you're still a Democrat? I'm curious, bro. Please oblige me. What's the top reason you're a Democrat, bro? I'm just curious, because I was a diehard. And I went through man. Tyler Webb says mainstream media. Yeah, mainstream media is why I think it. Well, I think because I'm born and raised here in Southern California, that just the indoctrination that occurs through school and mainstream media. And Charles Kirk, I think, nailed it right on the head, bro. But that's because you're on the right side. Because Trump bad. Charles Turk called it, bro. The number one thing when you break out of this echo chamber and you break out of the Democratic Party, you start thinking for yourself, the one thing you notice right away from your friends to the media to everyone, everything around you, the only actual response the main thing you get is Trump bad. There's nothing else. There's no other actual substance. That's why they lost the election. Because the whole entire election, or what do you call it? The whole entire, the running of the election, the whole thing that Kamala Harris ran on was Trump bad. And she couldn't even talk. Interactive improv. If you don't understand what I'm saying, bro, you need to get yourself checked out, because I'm not confusing government with private companies. I'm saying government was used to force private companies to suppress the government's political enemies or political opposites. That's what I'm saying. And yes, I am okay. Are you okay? You have comprehension issues? Like, what's up with you, bro? You okay or what? Please, dude. Please, bro, wake up. Come back to us, bro. Come back. Unlikely Preacher, which is Tibble Kane, says, when I was a kid, it was all the policies that seemed to make things considerate of the poor and needy that made Dems appealing. We're getting to another big one, bro. Tibble Kane, thank you for saying that, dude. You're gonna make me blow another head gasket right now, bro. I'm about to go nuts. I'm gonna wake everybody up, bro. That's okay. It's 7 p.m. on a Friday. You shouldn't be sleeping. Another thing that happened. Yeah, that's another good one. Tibble Kane and unlikely preachers. He made a really good point. Growing up, they indoctrinated me. I grew up in Southern California. The whole other reason why remember I was telling you the top 3 reasons? One of those reasons is we thought, I'm going to say past tense because I'm no longer a Democrat. We thought that being on the left, we were more virtuous. We were doing the right thing. We were helping people in need. Ooh, so virtuous. We're, taking care of people that can't take care of themselves, providing welfare programs. We thought we were doing welfare programs. Now, let's get into that. If you read one book of Thomas Sowell, that will completely eliminate all of those preconceived notions you have of welfare programs. When you give people money for free to have children and be single and only give it to them if they don't make enough money, guess what happens? You discourage people from making enough money. And guess what they have to depend on? Your welfare that you give them. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. So what happened? So people go on welfare, and there's videos I can pull up, and I'll probably do this. Maybe I'll do it now or another session. Maybe I'll do it while I'm talking, if I can, because I want a good one. Handouts. Rainy girl. Exactly. When you give handouts, what happens? People become stuck to your handouts. Charles Turk. Bro, you talk my language because I was just going to talk about some animals. Because sometimes people don't understand this. I have to explain this to my own family and to friends because they're virtuous and they don't get it. So Charles Turk says, you are not supposed to feed the bears because when you do, they will not forage for themselves. I'm going to take it a step further, okay? Let me ask you this. Charles Turk is saying that if you feed the bears, they won't forage for themselves. Let's take it a step further. If you raise a tiger in captivity and you feed it and you try to release it into the wild, most of the time it won't work. Why? Because it doesn't know how to hunt. It doesn't know the dangers of what's out there. It doesn't know what it's supposed to do. It's like, whoa, what is this place I'm in? Right? Same thing happens when you raise people on welfare and then you're like, you know what, dude, are you going to figure this out on yourself, on your own? Then when it's time to figure it out, they end up in the workforce yelling and screaming at their managers. That doesn't work. They're completely distraught by working normal hours. Neither will its cubs. Exactly, Tyler. And Tyler just went ahead and he knew where I was going. Tyler, you're exactly right. So what happens when you raise a tiger in captivity and it has babies, or let's just say to speak to Tyler's narrative, if you raise bears in captivity and they have cubs, and they get fed off captivity, or they learn from their parents, they learn how to not work and how to maximize welfare checks, and they don't know, they hate to go to work. They would hate to go to work. If you give welfare to a single mom and you tell her that the income level has to be this low in order to get the welfare, so then she's not going to get married to a guy that makes money, because then the household income goes up and then you won't get your welfare. And now she's worried about being dependent on a man. Okay? Yeah, they lose their freedom. Then she'll keep the household income down, or falsely report it, and will raise children with a mentality of being strapped to welfare. Charles says, I'm happy to have people in the need get food or cash to get back on their feet, but it's not a way of life. It will destroy your potential in the end. Exactly, bro. Let's go back over here. Me love you long time. Yep. Better than the government taking care of the poor. Welfare is a trap. You make a little money and they cut it off, but you can't quite afford to live, so you stay stuck until you change your mindset. And that's where we get into mindset, guys. I was shocked to see how many welfare recipients have been responding. Crazy ideals. Yep. You know how to get a Democrat back on his feet? Hide his welfare check under his work boots. The problem is that we're doing this. It's no bad dogs against, it's not against them. The problem is we're doing this. I was a Democrat and I was running around going, yeah, I'm a Democrat and I'm paying into these programs that help people in need blindly, because I never read Thomas Sowell. Read Thomas Sowell, and I'm going to put his name so you guys can see who it is. This is who Charlie Kirk always told us to read. Thomas Sowell, guys. So you read one book by Thomas Sowell and you're no longer a Democrat. And not because he goes against Democrats. He just tells you about reality of what's actually happening out there. Should I pull up Thomas Sowell for you guys? You guys want to see Thomas Sowell? Should we look at Tom? He's older now. He's older now, but dude, the guy is, whoo. Oh, man. Oh, this is a long one. I need to show some clips. We need some clips. Let's go to shorts. Let me pull up some Thomas Sowell, you guys. This is a good one, but it's long, bro. Let me see. Let me put this in, and let's see if this is gonna actually work. Let's see if I can find where like the highlights are in. This is Thomas Sowell.
Outrageous that for many
treated blacks as responsible actors, close
Yes,
quote.
yes.
Has that changed?
No, it has not.
All right. On we go to the passing scene. Your friend, your longtime friend, Walter Williams. Now we come to current politics. The bottom line is that President Donald Trump does not have the personal character, that we would want our children to imitate, but save his misguided international trade policies has.
This is not, I want to hear him talk about wealth, poverty, and politics. Yeah, see, this is good, dude. This is Thomas Sowell right here, bro. Let's go. You guys ready?
Welfare policies of the Johnson administration. Over the next 20 years, it fell an additional 18 points.
Most of this progress was prior to the massive expansion of the American welfare state, close quote. That is so I want to say counterintuitive, because we hear so much about African-American progress since civil rights and the establishment of the welfare state that it really has become a kind of American intuition. Explain yourself, Dr. Sowell.
Well, as of 1940, 87% of black households were in poverty. Over the next 20 years, that declined to 47%. This is all prior to the civil rights laws, prior to the social welfare policies of the Johnson administration. Over the next 20 years, it fell an additional 18 points. But that was just the same trend continuing at a reduced rate. Affirmative action is even worse, because as I remember, I'm trying to think now, the numbers. I think it was something like, poverty rate was something like 30% among black households before affirmative action. And a decade after affirmative action, it was 29%. This is not the same as the 40% decline that occurred before there were any civil rights laws and before there was any social welfare state.
And so what happened between 1940 and 1960 was the post-Second World War economic boom.
It was
right?
but it was also the massive migration of blacks out of the South.
So they're getting better education and jobs.
That's right.
Okay. Now, you mentioned cultural and social retrogressions. Again, I'm quoting you. Arguably the most consequential of these was the decline in two-parent families.
Yes.
Close quote. Explain that one. Among African Americans.
Yes.
We're still talking about African Americans.
Well, you know, when they talk about things like this, they talk about the legacy of slavery.
Right, right.
And I argue, well, empirically, it's not that, it's the legacy of the welfare state. Because as of 1960, which is almost 100 years after slavery ended, the majority of black kids were being raised in two-parent households. But within one generation after the welfare state, that had dropped down to a minority. So that the majority of black kids today are raised in one-parent households. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family, but one generation of the welfare state did.
The Moynihan.
Did you guys understand that? One generation of providing welfare destroyed black families. It destroyed white families too, but they're talking specifically in this segment, they're talking about black families. It destroyed black families. Why? Because it gave them welfare to be single and to not make money. It destroyed them. So I want to play this one more time right here.
But within one generation after the welfare state, that had dropped down to a minority. So that the majority of black kids today are raised in one-parent households. When you think about it, I mean, centuries of slavery and generations of Jim Crow did not destroy the black family, but one generation of the welfare state did.
The Moynihan Report.
NC called it, the father could not be in the home when welfare started. Essentially, that's what happened, right? That's the issue. And there's a lot more that we can get into, but that's that welfare. So now when we go back and we talk about why I went from being a Democrat to being a Republican, all of these things unraveled. First and foremost, we had this thing right here. The main top reasons that I was a Democrat completely were flipped. They weren't even, it wasn't even real. I thought we were when I was a Democrat, I thought we were the party of freedom of speech, freedom of expression. We were liberal. We were, everybody's equal. We're all the same, and all these things started shattering. So one of them was this censorship. Biden administration using the government to censor the political opponents on the other side via using social media companies to censor people, okay, and remove account. They even deleted the president of the United States account. Okay, so that was that. Then you have this whole thing of when you're a Democrat, you think you're better than everyone because you're all for welfare and all this kind of stuff, right? Freebies and welfare. We help the poor, we help the needy, we help people that can't get on their feet, that have children, and we give them all this stuff. And then you find out what I just showed you with Thomas Sowell. Right here, here's Thomas Sowell. I mean, this is Thomas Sowell. If you want a good book to read any book by Thomas Sowell, specifically this book right here. Let me see if I can pull it up right here. Okay, this is one of them. Once you find out that the welfare programs that that as Democrats we feel so virtuous about, that these welfare programs are the literal reasons why people can't get on their feet anymore. They get stuck into it and they're jammed up, and then they're giving birth to children and they're raising children in this welfare state, in this welfare environment. You're like, bro, they don't want to go to work. They're trying to figure out how they can maximize and get even more welfare than their parents did. How many kids do I have to make this much money? Bro, it's out of control. And then let's say it comes times like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to go to work. Then they go to work and they're yelling and screaming at their bosses. They're doing things that get them fired. They're quitting their jobs without finding other jobs. They're doing all the stuff that, that makes no sense because they don't have good upbringing to learn, and nobody taught them, hey, dude, this is how it works. You're going to have to deal with a boss that you don't like. You're going to have to go to work X amount of hours a week. Hey, dude, you are going to be having to work a job you don't like for this much time before you can find another job that you like better. And then you can work your way up and find another job. It's going to take time. But they don't get it, bro. They don't see that. So that's my kind of a rant that I went on today. That's my kind of a thing. That's my kind of a, where I came from this right here. Where is it? So it started with this. Okay. Google admits the censorship. I'm just going to bring this back full circle and then we're going to call it a day. Okay. Because it's Friday and I know you guys are trying to put your makeup on and do all your other stuff. And the guys are trying to get ready, trying to go get that tail and all that kind of stuff. And it's Friday, bro. I get it. So I'm going to call it quits. I'll give you time to go do that. Before I let you go, this is what we did. We talked about Google censorship. We talked about, 13 months ago, Zuckerberg openly admitted that IG and Facebook was censoring Americans because Joe Biden used the FBI to force them to censor true information. That's what started. A year later, 13 months later, we have what's up here at the top. Google admits to censoring people and they promise to bring the accounts back. Then what happened? This is a timeline. This is recent now because this is 3 days ago. Okay, so 3 days ago, Google admitted this part. Okay, this is September 23rd, 2025. Google admits censorship under Biden. Biden forced them to do it. Now, so that's real fascism for those of you that are wondering. Okay, and this is all a part of the reasons why I became I came away from the Democrat side and more towards the right side. So 3 days ago, we had Google admitting this. Now, yesterday, or the day before, Nick Fuentes opens a YouTube account and gets canceled, gets banned right away. Not cool.
I mean, guys, that's the bottom line. YouTube.
Then you have Vivek Ramaswamy.
Again, I'm
come
quoting
out.
you. Arguably, the most consequential of these was the
for very
decline
different
in
reasons.
two-parent families.
That's beside the point. It doesn't matter. The reason
Then
I'm asking
Vivek Ramaswamy came out and gave this speech. Whether you like this guy or not, I like him. Whether you like him or not, he's giving a speech directly aimed at the owners or the managers, the people running YouTube. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
a big fan of mine. The guy's
Start from the top. You actually have Vivek Ramaswamy, a president, one of the voices against censorship, as an Alex Scheidt.
the guys be heard. And I said, if you just unlock those accounts and let the guys be heard. Or if you just unlock those accounts.
Sorry, guys.
I think it's better if you just unlock those accounts and let the guys be heard. And I say this not because I'm some particular fan or vice versa. At least one of them, Nick, is probably not a particularly big fan of mine. No more than Jimmy Kimmel is, by the way, for very different reasons. That's beside the point. It doesn't matter. The reason I'm asking you to do it is that censorship isn't good for America. It's antithetical to our culture. And we're the country on God's green earth where we're able to talk to each other in the open. And I want to credit YouTube and Google and your parent company and so much of your competitors in Silicon Valley for creating the first instance of the free and open internet with search engines. It's a beautiful thing for democratizing speech. But I think we take a step in the wrong direction when we choke those same technologies that allow us to access open debate and open ideas. It breeds discontent. It breeds frustration. It actually breeds mistrust.
Discontent.
If you tell people they can't speak, that's when they scream. And if you tell people they can't scream, that's when they tear things down. So I think free speech is a precondition for peace. It's a precondition for the scientific method. It's a precondition for our shared unity, our shared national identity as Americans. Now, I can understand why you might think that certain types of speech or certain things that are said that are hurtful to other people or that may spread misinformation or may they count as violent or dangerous threats shouldn't be allowed on your platform. I personally take a broad view of what type of speech is an expression of an opinion that's protected, but that's a separate discussion about whether somebody says a particular thing that you think doesn't belong on your platform. That's one category of speech moderation. There's a different category of saying that you may demonetize certain people. You're not going to pay them, that even if they're able to speak on your platform, it's not necessarily their right to be paid for doing so or putting advertisers next to their name. That's a separate discussion. Personally, I don't like any of those forms of speech suppression as a general matter, but at least those are discussions that reasonable minds can have. There's a whole separate third category of censorship, though, that I think is particularly harmful, which is the idea that just because of who you are, your name and who you are, you don't get to express any idea, whether it's misinformation, hateful speech, whether it's dangerous or whatever you deem it to be. Irrespective of that, you're not making that judgment. Just based on who you are, you don't get to speak. I think that breeds mistrust. I don't think that's good for our country.
Yep.
There's legal arguments to be had. I've made legal arguments elsewhere in my books, in Wall Street Journal pieces, and there are legal arguments that you could construct that say that if a tech company is protected by Section 230, a government-created shield of immunity, that if a tech company is responding, even indirectly, to the threats of government officials, maybe that is actually even a legal First Amendment violation. That's not even what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is not a legal point, it's just a cultural point. It's the question of whether this is good or bad for America. And I think we live in a moment right now where when we tell people, whether it's the government or even a powerful company, when you tell people that because of who you are, you deserve not to be heard, I think that actually divides us.
Yep.
Even if it's done with the best of intentions of thinking it brings most of the rest of the country together, in the long run, it actually throws kerosene on the very flame you were trying to quash. And so that's my ask to you. I'm not trying to do this in some type of faux indignation, angry way that escalates some political fight. That's not the goal. I actually think that it's often possible to get to the right answer through just reasonable, open dialogue. That's what I hope this is. I hope you're able to reconsider a decision that you made that may have been a wrong decision. And I think we need more space as a country when people do make a wrong decision to be able to be given an off-ramp, to be able to say that, you know what, after thinking about it, yeah, we agree, we're persuaded that all else equal, even though we intended well, we ought to let people speak and be heard. That's what I hope happens here. And so my ask is, and again, speaking as a guy who, from Jimmy Kimmel to Nick Fuentes, probably don't like me very much. I don't care. That doesn't matter. It's not what this is about. It's not even about the content. It's about the principle. I'd ask you to restore the accounts of those guys, and believe me, it will be a down payment on beginning to reunite this country, a project on which we have yet a very long way to go. Thanks a lot for considering.
So there you have it, guys. We went full circle on this one. Okay. That was fun. I got heated up. I almost broke a sweat. I think I did break a sweat over here. That was incredible. Anyway, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna post this on the page. I'm gonna make it public. This was a good talk. If you guys didn't catch it, it'll be on my YouTube page under Medication Live, which is what you see at the top. So if you do want to catch this discussion, it was a good one. We went through some stuff, and I went at it. Charles Cirk, well, thank you, brother. I'm glad I found your channel. Thank you, man. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for being part of the conversation. State Line, if you're still there, thank you for being part of the conversation. Unlikely Preacher, thank you. Everybody, Rainy Girl, G. Hanker, thank you. NC, all you guys, man, even you whoever didn't agree with me still, thank you guys for joining the conversation. My channel is all about discovery through live streams. We're going to find out more about the world and more about each other through these live streams. We're going to talk to each other, and that's how we're going to run it, guys. So you guys want to get on and talk to each other and learn some stuff together, let's do it, baby. I'm all for it. And thank you, guys. Appreciate you. And I will let you have a good night. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow, most likely, I will be doing street interviews. So I'll be on the streets talking to people about some of these same things live, uncut, unfiltered, literally live. I'll just be talking to people on the live, and we'll have a good time out in the streets of Southern California, baby. We'll do it. Guys, thank you. Thank you so much. That was so fun. And I will call it now. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Good night.